round of applause for all our dancers on the stage. Wonderful dancing. The future. Thank you, girls. Please be seated.
No, okay, sure. Just one mic from them. Yeah, I got it. Pushing. My brother is doing the harmonic. Class number 1. Water is also
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jagor Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jagor Bhakta Vrindam Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Pamakyantimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chaksurimilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dudanti Sapadantikam Jai Shri Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Dear Prabhus, today we have gathered to honor the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, brother, Lord Nityananda Prabhu. As we know, the Lord appears in every age out of his causeless mercy. In Satya Yuga, he appeared. In Treta Yuga, he appeared. And in Dwapara Yuga, he appeared as Swayam Bhagavan in his original form. Actually, Krishna is called Triyuga Agavatar. It means that he appears in 3 ages. There's no direct reference that Bhagavan appears in Kali Yuga, because this is the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. This is the Iron Age, where people become more and more religious, day by day. So who will hear the message? When the Lord comes, he describes in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya dushritam. He comes for three reasons: to deliver the pious, to annihilate the miscreants, and to re-establish the principles of Dharma. But that's very difficult in Kali Yuga. How many pious people are there as Kali Yuga advances? Very few. Kalo Suddha Sambhavan, the Varaha Purana says. In the age of Kali, most people are Sudra. So if the Lord comes, who will hear his message? It's something like taking ghee, hot ghee, and pouring it on ashes. When you pour ghee on the Yagyashala, on the fire, Lord Vishnu appears with the mantras. We chant the mantras. He appears to accept our offerings in the yajna. But if you pour that ghee on ashes, nothing happens. So because people are so impious in this age, the principles of religion, cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, and austerity, become crippled day by day. Foundation of religion is cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, and austerity. This is the foundation upon which the civilized people live, whereby they can practice Sanatana Dharma and awaken their love for Bhagavan. But cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, and austerity, they're disappearing day by day in this iron age of Kali. So therefore, Krishna is called Triyuga avatar. Tri means three, Yuga means age. He comes in 3 ages because there are people in Satya, there are people in Treta, there are people in Dvapara who are eager for this message. They're looking for this message. They're seeking this message out. In Kali Yuga, the tables turned. Unfortunate. So why should the Lord come? I've been quoting recently Chanakya Pandit in his Niti Shastra. It's a Shastra. There are all these kings on the battlefield. Eternally, not Indian, not American, not German, not man, not woman. We're eternally Jiver Supoya, Krishna and Nityadas. We're eternally, whether we know it or not, eternal servants of Bhagavan, everyone. Not just India, the whole world. They're all servants of Krishna. They've forgotten to various degrees. Here, many of us know. The further you get from India, it becomes Malecha Desh, Yavana Desh. Like there's the candle burning. So most of the light is around the candle. The further you go from the candle, the more dark it becomes. So the further you go from Bharat, from the original culture of this country, the more the ignorant, the forgetfulness is there. Of course, there's forgetfulness now in Bharat. I came here in 1970. I live here actually. I've seen the changes in this country. How the spiritual quality is going down as we're imitating Western culture. This is the greatest calamity. So the candles here, Bharat means in Sanskrit light. Bharat was a person, of course, who many people say, scholars say India was originally called Bharat after a king, but Bharat in Sanskrit also means light. Not because it's a subtropical country, but the light of knowledge. Raja Vidya, Raja Guyam. India has the king of all education, how to get out of this material world, go back home, back to Godhead. But also, if you see the candle, Actually, the darkest part is right under the candle, because the light spreads out. So if you study a light very carefully, you'll see that if you look straight down, there's a dark space, because the light is going like this, out. So the darkness is under the candle. And that's what's happening to this great country of Bharat. Slowly by slowly, Kali is advancing and destroying cleanliness, truthfulness, mercy, austerity, dharma, from which, and the knowledge. People would rather go to a cricket match than a lecture by a sadhu. Of course, it's still going on to a great degree, but it is declining. ISKCON has a great challenge to not only revive, but keep the culture of this great country going, the spiritual power, Sanatana Dharma. Not very difficult now. We just go out, chant on the streets, distribute books, create namharas, do festivals, all centered around what? Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So no one has asked God to come. In previous ages, they're waiting for him to come. They're anxious for him to appear. In this age, he appears, no one takes notice. No one asks him to come. But in our culture, the uninvited guest must be served like Bhagavan himself. It's a principle in your civilization. The uninvited guest is very auspicious. The sadhu is, you've not invited the sadhu to your home. The sadhus are doing, doing madhukari in the morning. They're going and begging from door to door for some food stuff, some prasad. That's very auspicious. The sadhu has come to your home. You invite him in. He speaks some words of knowledge to the family members, takes some dut, and he goes away. That type of guest is very auspicious. The sadhu is not invited, but he knocks on the door. Maya, Maya, Maya. Dut. Some milk. Chapati, roti. And we love to give to the sadhus, because by giving to the sadhus, we get blessings of Bhagavan. Krishna says, one who says he's my devotee, he's not my devotee. But one who says he's the devotee of my devotee, he's my devotee. So Krishna is very pleased when you serve his representatives. The sadhus are continuing the message of the Gita, Bhagavatam, etc. So Krishna is very happy. So if you serve the sadhus, Krishna is very pleased. So in this country, in the villages, or in the holy places, the sadhus, they go, they're hungry, so they're not working. Their work is to go back to Godhead. They're chanting 16, 64, 192 rounds a day. That's their work. They have the real work of going back to Godhead. So we have to maintain them. And they come to the door, Maya, Maya, roti, sabji, dut. They don't really need it, because they can go to one house and get everything, but tradition is they go to 4 houses. The Goswamis, 6 Goswamis, they would go to 4 houses. Still today in Braj, they go to 4 houses. Just so they can share the message of Bhagavatam with the people. So the uninvited guest, he's considered very auspicious. So, Purushottam, the best amongst all personalities is Sri Krishna. Purushottam means he's the best. Purushottam, that's like Ravana, Shishupal, Dantavarkya, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Purushottam. Purushottam means the most elevated, and that is a singular person. Purushottam. No one else can claim this title. Purushottam, Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna. He comes in Kali Yuga as an uninvited guest. No one's even interested. No one's expecting him to come. But Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radhe Krishna, Nayanga. Wow, that says everything. Elegance is truth spoken concisely. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radhe Krishna, Nai Anga. It's very mysterious that originally Narayan, Krishna was one, but to enjoy happiness, because he's the reservoir of all happiness, he expanded his pleasure potency, Ladini Shakti, his internal potency, Ladini, as Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani. Together we address them as the absolute truth. Together we see them as God. Radha and Krishna. Krishna and his energy, Ladini Shakti. Hare Krishna. Hare is vocative Hara, mother, or Sri Radha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So to enjoy, Krishna expanded as two. How can you enjoy alone? Maybe sometimes we want a little privacy, we close the door and lock it, we go for a walk. But if we really want to enjoy, it means with others, with my family members, with my neighbors, with my country. We had Republic Day. We were celebrating this great country of Bharat. Enjoyment means too. The more, we say in English, the more the merrier. Of course, they use that in the wrong way, but the more the merrier. So the Lord expanded. And then when Kali Yuga came, we forget God, he never forgets us. This is like the kind father. The children may go away, disobey the parents. I'm forgetting, no, but Father Nature, mothers, especially Indian mothers, are very attached, rightfully so and happily so. If the boy goes off, the mother feels so much pain. So, in the same way, although we have left the kingdom of God, we've forgotten, we're doing our best to forget Bhagavan. Even people create a philosophy to forget Bhagavan. There's so many philosophies to remember Bhagavan. There's so many philosophies. There's a Hatha Yoga philosophy, Jnana Yoga philosophy, Bhakti Yoga philosophy. Then there's also Mayavad philosophy, to forget God. We try our best. We create. There's no atheistic philosophy in genuine Vedic culture. This Mayavad philosophy was introduced at one point, Shankaracharya. In the true Veda, you can say Brahman, but Brahman's the energy of the Lord. Abhigna Swarat, he's present everywhere by his energies, therefore he's all-knowing. That's that feature of the Brahman. So it's not that there's no genuine Mayavad philosophy, and we say in the West, like atheistic philosophy. We're so rascaldom that we create a philosophy to negate God. That's the epitome of it all. We left, and then we say he doesn't exist. Like if you say, do you have a husband? No, my husband doesn't exist. He never existed. Excuse me? The atheistic philosophy is ruining everything, actually. And science is taking it up. There's no soul, there's no God. Creation's there by some mechanistic feature of the material energy. This is all Mayavad. Therefore, Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Prabhupada has come to the West to destroy this philosophy of impersonalism and nihilism. He's come to smash this by proving there is a God, and his name is Krishna, and he plays the flute, and he's bluish black like a monsoon cloud, and he lives in a world which is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He's surrounded by his loving devotees. Prabhupada is giving the greatest gift to the world, to the creation. So although no one is asking God to come in Kali Yuga, because he loves us more than anyone's ever been loved before, because we're his sons and daughters. He sees it like that. He sees it with spiritual vision. Vidya vinaya sampane brahmani gavi hastini. A learned person, he doesn't see an elephant, a cow, a dog eater. He sees the soul. That's the seer of the truth. What to speak of Bhagavan? Krishna, he has the ultimate vision. He sees all his parts and parcels as his own. And when they leave, it disturbs him. So even in Kali Yuga, he comes. Most people don't know, we're very aware of the Dashavatars. The Dashavatars. We've never heard of the incarnation, you could say 11th, prominent, because there's so many incarnations, but we're talking about prominent. A prominent incarnation, most prominent incarnation, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shangopanga Shiparshadam Yagnai Sankatam Prayar Yashanti Shu Mayasha. Bhagavad Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam. 11th canto, it's mentioned that God does come. No, yes, no, yes. But but he comes Chana avatar. He's hidden. God has to hide? Yes, he has to hide. Because if he came as God, all the Mayavadis would worship him to become like him. The Mayavad philosophy would become very prevalent because how attractive was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda. So attractive. So rather than following them, I want to be like them. I want to be God. So therefore, Lord had to come as Chana. He had to come in a disguise. And what disguise did he take? Actually, did they take? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radhe Krishna Nayanga. Krishna was one, he became two, but for the purpose of delivering the fallen souls in Kali Yuga, he became one again. Oh, like before? No. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the golden avatar. So he's mentioned 11th canto, Krishna Varna Tusha Krishna Varna. You who were bluish black like a monsoon cloud in the Dwapara Yuga, you've come again. But this time you've come not bluish black like a monsoon cloud. You've come as a golden avatar. And how will I recognize you? That verse says, the Lord can be recognized by the fact that he's chanting his own sweet holy names. And he's surrounded by a multitude of devotees who are also doing what? Bhajan in Badrinath? Bhajan at Radhakund? No, they're doing congregational chanting of the holy name. Many, hundreds of thousands of people coming together with banners and bugles and loudly chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And very often when the Lord comes, well, when he comes, he never comes alone. Prabhupada said, you'll never see a picture of Krishna alone. It's one of his distinctive features that makes him different than even Lord Narayan. He's always surrounded by his loving devotees. I heard Prabhupada say one time, at least a peacock. Because Krishna means he's always engaged in loving, very deep loving pastimes with his devotees in Goloka. He's always surrounded by devotees. So when he comes like a king, when he leaves his kingdom to travel here and there and everywhere, he takes his family, he takes his entourage, he takes his ministers, he takes his armies. Any leader is only as good as the team he has. If you're a CEO, you know what I'm talking about. You may be CEO, but you depend on your immediate helpers and your general workforce. So of course Krishna doesn't need us, but he enjoys being with us and we enjoy being with him. So when he comes with the whole spiritual world, actually. And when Krishna came, asked with specifically, who helped him in spreading the Sankirtan movement in particular? His brother Balaram, isn't it? Balaram is Krishna's brother. So when Krishna came, he asked Balaram to come with him. Brajendra Nandana She, Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. What a verse. Srila Narottam Das Thakur. Brajendra Nandana Se, Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se, Balaram Hoilo Nitai. Lord Krishna, the Prince of Braja, has appeared as Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachimata. And Balaram has appeared as Nitai. So Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, he describes this phenomena, how these two personalities, Krishna and Balaram, Krishna and Balaram, the cowherd boys. What is this phenomena that the two of them, Krishna and Balaram is Krishna's expansion, so they're very tight. He's Krishna's first expansion, Balaram. Actually, Krishna and Balaram, the only difference, it's stated, is that Krishna is bluish-black like a monsoon cloud, and Balaram's whitish like an autumn cloud. But otherwise, they're identical. But because Balaram is an expansion, he considers himself subservient to Krishna. It's a whole other class. But they're brothers, and they spend most of the time together in Braj. If you study Braj Leela, the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan, there's different relationships you can have with Krishna. You can have the relationship of motherhood. Krishna can be your friend, he can be your lover. And these different relationships are carried out in different parts of Vrindavan during the day and during the night. But if we study Braj Leela, we'll see that Krishna spends most of his time out at the pasturing grounds with his cows, isn't it? He leaves home. All the Brajbasis are crying, Krishna, you're going away, just for the afternoon. But Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. They can't bear separation from Krishna. But he goes. He leaves the gopis, he leaves his elders, and whomever is else in the village of Braj, he goes to the pasturing grounds. And he stays all day with with Balaram and the cowherd boys and the cows, and they come back in the evening. So what's that? So therefore we know that the cows are very dear to Krishna. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Go Vindaya Namo Namaha. Brahmins are dear, but cows are even more dear because the cows are with Krishna all day. And Balaram. So how close are Krishna and Balaram? We have a saying, a mundane saying, blood is thicker than water. We use this when we talk about family relationships. You know, you have your family members, they're your blood, so blood is thicker than water. You have other relationships, but family. If there's a fire, the father saves his children first, and then he saves the neighbors. So, Paritrunaya Sadhanam. Krishna comes for the devotees, and then he kills the asuras. So, Balaram and Krishna, they're brothers. So, Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shahodito Gurudeya Pushpanvanto Chitta Shando Tamo Nudo. Kaviraj Goswami says, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and the moon. They have risen simultaneously on the horizon of Goda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. This is the good news. You study the internet, you read the newspaper, it's all bad news. Where do you find the good news? There's some, but people relish hearing the bad news, like the crows. They like to eat the garbage. The swans meal, the swans, they live in the lakes, and the buds of the lotus flower, that's their food. So devotees want to be like swans. Swans can, if you pour milk into the water, the swans have a particular unique ability. They can drink the milk without drinking the water. The water comes out of their nostrils. So a Parivajacacharya, Paramahamsa, is a devotee who specifically Paramahamsa, only wants the nectar out of life. People every day, they go onto their phones, their cell phones, and first thing is the news. No wonder the atmosphere becomes more and more polluted as time goes on. Here's the good news. Let them put this, I don't know what your newspapers are, Hindustani Times, you have the internet, etc. This should be the big story. I saw that a hotel, there was a television. Breaking news. It's all over the television. It's like, okay, something's really important is happening in India. Breaking news. It's about some politician, about some crime, about some abuse, about some war. Breaking news. Everybody look. No, here's the breaking news. Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Why? Because they're like the sun and the moon. They're brightening up the age of Kali by giving us a way to get out and go home. They've arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Ghoda to dissipate ignorance and wonderfully bestow benediction upon everyone. Just like when it rains, the rain doesn't discriminate here or there. Falls. So the mercy of Lord Chaitanya is present everywhere because now the whole world knows what is the Hare Krishna movement. By Prabhupada's grace. Everyone knows Hare Krishna. For better or worse, in their minds. But Hare Krishna is a household word. You go to Russia, Hare Krishna Prabhu. You go to France, aujourd'hui c'est les Krishnas. C'est les Krishnas. They chantaient dans la rue. You go to Spain, buenos dias, Hare Krishna, mama, Hare Krishna. Just to say the name of Krishna, just one name, even unconsciously, Agyat Sukriti, so much pollution goes away from the heart just one time. So these two brothers, Krishna and Balaram, they often together. They're inseparable. Just as Krishna appears as Ram, and Balaram appears as Lakshman. So in Kali Yuga, the two brothers come as Gaur Nitai. So Nitai, as Balaram does, he associates Krishna in the form of Chaitanya in his pastimes. Now there's a special quality to Nitai's service to Mahaprabhu that, or you could say, there's a special quality to their service together that's different than Krishna's pastimes or Ram's pastimes when they come to the earth. Because when Krishna and Ram come to the earth, they enjoy pastimes of love. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Pati Pavana Sitaram, Sitaram Jai, Sitaram, Sitaram Jai, Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! Jai Sri Ram! Such wonderful pastimes, Sitaram Ramayan, it melts the heart. So when Sita and Ram came in Treta Yuga, they came with their devotees, Hanuman and Sugriva, and it was like a theater, a traveling theater show. They didn't invite people into the Leela. They just showed the Leela. When Krishna came 5,000 years ago with his Braj Leela, he was showing everyone then, now, and in the future, what Vrindavan's like. Like you get a travel brochure. Oh, let's go there for our vacation. So they showed you where you should go for an eternal vacation. You come back home, back to Godhead. It was all a display. But the pastimes of Gaur Nitai, what is their Leela? Chanting and dancing through the villages and the towns of Nadia and the world. And they invited all the fallen people to come with them. It wasn't just a demonstration. You could participate in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. The first incarnation, you could jump on the stage and chant with the Lord. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu Ke, Lord Nityanand Ke, Shri Panchatattva Ke. Just like I'm leading Kirtan. And all the children, it's spontaneous. Do they often do this? They were dancing so wonderfully. To see the children dance, it gives us hope, because the children of our movement are the future. And we want them to enjoy Krishna consciousness. How can they resist the temptation of material life? And it's very strong now, especially in the schools. Prabhupada called them slaughterhouses to some degree, some of them. Unless spiritual life's more fun. How can you give up material life unless spiritual life's more fun? We don't generally think of it like that. But Mahaprabhu made it fun, chanting, dancing, and feasting. So to see your children dancing on the stage, this is wonderful. You're training them properly. They're happy children. And when they become teenagers and older, they'll be able to resist the temptation of Maya. Nope. Maya, sorry, you go away. Nope. Why? Because I have Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And my mommy makes good samosas. So this is the same Kirtan movement of Gaur Nitai. Actually, it's so wonderful a phenomena that you can achieve the same perfection that our forefathers achieved in Satya, Treta, and Dwapara Yuga by whatever the Dharma was then. It was much more difficult, but they were much more spiritually inclined. You can achieve the same thing in Kali Yuga by chanting, dancing, and feasting under the guidance of the Shenapati, the great general, our founder, Acharya, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So this is what it is. And they're inviting us onto the stage. So it's actually a miracle. It's actually a miracle. Therefore the devatas, Prabhupada said, the demigods, 33 million demigods, they're begging Krishna, let me go down and take birth on the earth planet. No, you have so many duties. Vayu, the air. There's so, Brahma is in charge. You can't go. No, but I want to go down to the earth planet. Demigods, because there's the opportunity to achieve Paramgati, beyond Svargaloka, beyond the heavenly planet, beyond Vaikuntha, the official kingdom of God, to the playground of God in Vrindavan. The people of Kali Yuga can go to the topmost planet? What? That was Rupa Goswami's realization the first time he saw Lord Chaitanya at Ram Keli. Mahaprabhu was on his way to Vrindavan. He took a detour to Ram Keli in Bengal to see Rupa and Sanatan because they're his eternal servants. And the pastime is that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered the village, it was the first time Rupa Goswami had actually seen Mahaprabhu. And from his heart onto his lips came this ambrosial shloka. Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prem Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Dhamne Go. How could he realize this disguised incarnation? Well, he's family. In Rupa Goswami and Goloka Vrindavan is Rupa Manjari. Many of the Manjaris came as male personalities to help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastime. So like when you dress up for a party, some ball or something, you can't fool your children. You're dressed up as, I don't know, some famous personality. Mommy, before you go, can you make some cookies? The children can recognize you because it's family. So here's the family, the eternal family, the family we're part of, the family we're missing, the family we want to go back to. Braj, Shri Vrindavan Dham. So Rupa, he recognized Namo Mahabhadana, Krishna Prem, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Nanda. Go. You are Krishna, now you're Gaur, and you've come to Kali Yuga, and you're distributing love of God to the people of Kali Yuga. Hello. How's that? And what type of love? Braj Bhakti. You're giving Braj Bhakti to the people of Kali Yuga. There's nothing more amazing than this. And fortunately, we have been caught up in that tsunami. I was going to say tidal wave. Nowadays we can say tsunami. When the tsunami comes, you can't stand there. And no. So we're tumbling and turning and swirling and dancing and singing in ecstasy. Why? Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shangopanga Shaparshadam Yagnai Sankatan Praya Yashantihi Shu Medashaha. We are invited into these pastimes. Even if you're not invited, just like the tsunami is coming, you have no choice. You have no choice. Like Prabhupada told us one time. You were all sinful, rascal boys and girls, addicted to sinful, like hippies, this and that. No culture. But when you heard the chanting of Hare Krishna, you all came running. That's what happened. Prabhupada came to America. A sadhu, according to tradition, is not meant to cross beyond the borders of Bharat. There's too much contamination. It's not good for his spiritual progress. Prabhupada, he's a Shaktavish avatar. His godbrothers described him. Special personality sent by Krishna to distribute Krishna consciousness. He wasn't afraid. He told the devotees one time, the reason I was successful in America is because I had full faith in the instructions of my spiritual master and the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So Mahaprabhu came and he broke open that storehouse of love of God, Braja Bhakti. He broke it open. And Nitai was the chief distributor of that kripa. They worked together, but they had different. Narottam Das Thakur says, Nitai Parakamalam Koti Chanda Shushitala Ye Jai Jagat Nurai. The lotus feet of Lord Nityananda are like cool moonlight of 1,000,000 moons, under whose shelter everyone can find relief from the blazing fire of material suffering. Bear in mind, everyone. This way, Nitai is a very special incarnation. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur glorifies Nitai by saying he's Tattva Simha. Tattva Simha, he's the very limit of absolute truth because he's Purna Shakti, he's the total potency of God, Seva Vigraha, he's the embodiment of service, and Murti Mana Krishna Prem, he's the embodiment of love of God. So we know a lot about Lord Chaitanya's appearance. You know, he appeared Yogapith in Mayapur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur verified that. He went there and verified it by the devotees. But maybe not so much is known about Nitai, but the world should know because Nitai is the one that goes out and delivers the Jagai and Madhais. So Nitai appeared as the son of Hadai Pandit and Mother Padmavati in Ekachakra in the year 1473. And actually his parents had not been able to conceive a child. They just couldn't conceive. But one night, a sage appeared in the dream of Padmavati. And the sage said, "My dear lady, do not worry. You will soon have as a son a Mahapurusha." Wouldn't that be nice, ladies? You and your husband want to conceive and you have a dream, and a sadhu appears in your dream and says, "You will soon be impregnated with a Mahapurusha, a Mahabhagavata Mahapurusha." Honey, wake up! I've had this dream. And that sadhu said, "This Mahapurusha who will appear in your womb, Padmavati, will deliver millions of sinners from bondage." The die was cast. The die was cast. And he said, "You will deliver millions and millions." So at his birth, this child, who they named Nitai, was not an ordinary child. Once when playing with his childhood friends, this Nitai fell unconscious when a boy playing Ravana hurled a play arrow at him. They were playing Ramayana. But Nitai could only be revived when the boy playing Hanuman brought some Sanjeevani herb to cure him. Hello. This is like Ram Lakshman. And when he was 12 years old, Lord Chaitanya appeared in Navadvip. So Nitai was a little older. So knowing this, Lord Nityananda, hearing this, he's just 12 years old, but he heard that Nimai had appeared in Navadvip. So as Nitai, he roared so loud, he made the entire universe fall unconscious. They're both taking their birth now, right? Nitai takes birth first from his mother Padmavati and his father. He's 12 years old, and in Navadvip, Lord Chaitanya appears from the womb of Sachi Mata and Jagannath. And at that moment, when Lord Chaitanya appeared, Lord Nityananda swelled, he roared so loud, everyone in the universe fell unconscious. Oh my God. And he started thinking, how will I ever meet up with Lord Chaitanya? Here in Eka Chakra, my mother and father have so much affection for me, they'll never let me go. Right? You can imagine how much affection that Nitai's parents had for him, because he's the most adorable Supreme Personality of Godhead as a baby. But as God, he's just as attractive as a baby as he is when he's older. Just like Krishna is so adorable as Damodar. Lala. He steals makan. He's so adorable. So Nitai's thinking, now my brother Nimai, to be one day Lord Chaitanya, he's appeared, and when's the Sangha? What's that? It has a happy ending. Who's crying? He's thinking, when will the Sankirtan movement start? But the plan of the Lord is always mystical, and it's always favorable, it's always glorious. One day a tall sannyasi came to the house of Hadai Pandit. And he stayed for some time, this sannyasi. And tradition is when a sannyasi comes to your house, ladies and gentlemen, and he gives you the most valuable thing, transcendental knowledge, he can ask for anything he wants. You can give him 1 crore, he may ask for a cow, he may ask for I don't know what. But this sannyasi, he asked for Hadai Pandit and Padmavati's son, Nitai. Can you imagine? So if I come to your house tomorrow and I take prasad and I want that 5-year-old boy, Maharaj, please, no, he looks, I will make him into a sannyasi. But he's only 5, I haven't enjoyed his childhood. So Nitai's father, he agreed. But Mother Padmavati, she said, please don't take my life from me. You know? When you have a child, because Garbhadam Samskara, the child is a saint, or has the ability to become a saint if you raise him properly or her properly. So the child's the life and soul, I see, for the mothers. They bring the children up to me for blessings. The way the mothers look at the children, it's almost like Mother Yasoda looking at Krishna. But that's motherhood. That's why the children are protected by that motherhood. Something glorious. Imagine if Krishna's your child. So she's looking like, please don't take my life from me. So this sannyasi, he had a deity. The deity was a deity Murlidhar in his bag. So he gave the deity to Mother Padmavati and said, here, you give me Nitai, I'll give you this deity. Ladies, if I give you a Gopal tomorrow, you give me your son. Then he said, this sannyasi, in fact, you'll see your own son in this deity. So she held the deity, and looking at the deity's face, she saw Nitai in the face of that deity. It's very mystical. So her heart was satisfied. These are all special personalities. Yes, she may take my son. She let go. It's not so easy to let go, especially if your son is the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Shankaracharya, when he was 5, he told his mother, Maya, I want to take sannyas. Lala, you're 5 years old. No, Shankaracharya, I want to take sannyas. I'm finished with this world. You've only been here 5 years. Maya. So she tried to pacify him. Okay, you can take sannyas when you're on the verge of death. Now stop this talk. So you know what he did? Shankaracharya is very intelligent. There's the Kaveri River. So in those days in the river there were crocodiles. So he just ran out and swam out in the river. And come on, crocodiles, time for prasad. So the crocodiles, 12 of them. And then the mother saw Shankaracharya in the river, and crocodiles coming. Oh, my boy, what are you doing? He turned around and said, Maya, I'm on the verge of death. Can I take sannyas? So she had no choice. She said yes. Little did she know he was a good swimmer. And he swam back to the shore, and there was some torn cloth on the road, on the side. Put the torn cloth, picked up a stick like a staff, and gave himself sannyas and went on to his glorious pastimes. So Nitai traveled with this. We traveled with this sannyasi for quite some time, but then the sannyasi disappeared. I couldn't find out what happened. It's not mentioned what happened. But he disappeared, and Nitai was growing up, so he kept traveling. And Bhakti Ratnakara, our Bhakti Ratnakara, says, while visiting Pandharpur, he met the guru of Madhavendra Lakshmipati. He took Diksha from him. He took Diksha. Mahaprabhu took Diksha from Ishwarapuri to teach us the example. And after taking that Diksha, everything changed. He became mad with Krishna Prema. Like Lord Chaitanya, after accepting initiation from Ishwarapuri, he became mad with Krishna Prema. So here's Nitai, totally, like a madman. People think like that, ordinary people. He was, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, he traveled like he was intoxicated with love of God. He was swinging to and fro on the road like a mad elephant. Sometimes he wept. Sometimes he cried, and sometimes he laughed like a madman. Jai Nitai! And he was avadut. He wore blue dhoti, tulsi and rudraksha beads around his neck, and he had a big earring in one ear, and ankle bells on his feet. What? Because these incarnations are different than we have Rishabdev, for example, personalities who were attracted because of their renunciation, how renounced they were. But Mahaprabhu, he brought yukta vairagya, meaning we can use everything in Krishna's service to spread the Sankirtan movement. So many times when Gaur Nitai would go in Sankirtan, they would wear big flower garlands, their flowing hair, like this, and beautiful silk clothes and jewels, navaratnas. They both on each arm, navaratna, the 9 jewels, to appease the planets, the diamond, the pearl, the ruby, the sapphire, like that. They wore that, and they would go in Sankirtan. And the scholars at that time couldn't understand, who are these crazy fellows? If you want to understand Vedanta, you have to sit on the bank of the Ganges and study in Kashi. And they saw, Pakishtana Saraswati, who are these who's this Mahaprabhu dancing? So in the early days, they would wear jewels. And in this ring, I have one of the jewels worn by Lord Nityananda. Actually. Sort of confidential, but not anymore. When Nitai passed away, Janavamata, his wife, she came to Vrindavan with some of his tadiya, his paraphernalia. An article of cloth. He had a Shiva lingam that he worshipped, and a few other things. And the Navaratna, the 9 jewels that he wore on his arms, she brought that, and it was taken to the care of Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami kept that paraphernalia, worshipped that paraphernalia in the Radha Damodar temple. And it's been carried down from the pujaris over time. And one of the pandas, or one of the Goswamis actually connected to the Radha Damodar temple. I became very, very close with him. And over the years, and he had the jewels, they were still there. He had the jewels. He was still there. And one day I just did dandabats and begged that I'm a sannyasi, Guru Maharaj has told me, preach boldly, have faith in the holy names. I have to keep moving, going to new places, dangerous places perhaps. Could you bestow upon me? Because he kept them locked up all year long in a safe. And one day he agreed, and he gave me one of the jewels here. And Kartamashi? What's his name, the sadhu?
Sorry?
What was his name, that sadhu?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm trying to remember the name of that sadhu. Braja, do you remember? Nityanandavat? Huh? Anup Goswami, yeah. Anup Goswami. He's recently passed away. But please give him a big round of applause when he attained the Loka Vrindavan. He gave me the jewel, worn by Nitai. So eventually Nitai came to Navadvip in Mayapur, and it was time for the brothers to meet. The plot always thickens, they say. So this is the real plots, these leelas of the Lord in his relations. It was time for Gaur and Nitai to meet. So when he arrived, when Nitai arrived in Navadvip, he went to the house of one of Mahaprabhu's associates, Nandana Acharya. And that night, Lord Chaitanya had a dream that his brother, quote unquote, Nitai, had arrived in Navadvip. And he awoke in the morning, and Chaitanya took on the mood of Balaram. It's quite esoteric. And he said to Srivas Pandit, bring me my liquors. Like Balaram would take the, what's it called? Varuni beverage, liquors, like that, not liquor, but liquors. He said to Srivas, bring me my liquors. So Srivas Pandit, he said, my Lord, you already have those sweet liquors in the form of love of God, and you're already distributing them to others in the form of the Hare Krishna mantra. Because, Lord Chaitanya, as Nimai Pandit, he had started, preaching the glories of the holy names. So Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Balaram, he turned to Srivas and said, no. Then he turned back into the mood of Lord Chaitanya. To distribute this Krishna prema, I require Nitai. Just like Krishna needs Balaram to go to the forest to herd the cows, so now Lord Chaitanya needs Nitai to really fulfill this mission of the Sankirtan movement. So Lord Chaitanya said, I know he's here. And everybody said, what? No, my Nitai, Lord Nityananda, is now in Navadvip. But we haven't seen him, because he went to the house, remember, of Nandanacharya. So no one had seen Nitai yet. So Lord Chaitanya, he said to Haridas Thakur and Srivas Pandit, go find him. So Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Haridas Thakur and Srivas Pandit, Lord Nityananda is here? They're looking everywhere. But Vrindavan Das Thakur says something very interesting in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Bada Goda Nityananda Tattva Eva Tare Chaitanya Dikaya Jare Se Dikite Pare. He alone can see him who Lord Chaitanya shows. You can only see, you can only understand, you can only appreciate Lord Nityananda by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all these divine personalities. We need blessings to understand who they are. So he alone can see him who Lord Chaitanya shows. That's how he says, what he said. So they came back empty-handed. Then Lord Chaitanya, he himself, in great eagerness, burst out of his home. And he went to the home, because he knew a beginner's heart. He went to the home of Nandacharya. And he walked in. Dun, 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 make a great movie. Someone should do. They made a movie about Nrsingadev recently, right? Nrsinga Avatar. I heard. Well, they should make a movie of Gaur Nitai. This moment where Krishna and Balaram are finally meeting, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, are finally meeting after separation. And what is that separation? That Vipralamba Bhav. It's a whole lecture how intense it is. They met and they ran to each other and jumped up and embraced. And in doing so, in that consciousness, they fell on the ground unconscious. And all the devotees are looking. Whoa! Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda. Because many of those associates, remember, they came from the spiritual world. They were females, manjaris. And they came as male personalities to facilitate the Yuga Dharma. So they're all there. They all know what's happening. They're all excited. Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yajna Ke! They're all in the mood. This is the mood of this Leela, delivering everyone. So Gadadhar Pandit, who was present, recited the following verse as the two brothers are lying unconscious. He's describing Krishna going into the Vrindavan forest as a means of, helping them remember something completely wonderful and transcendental to come back to consciousness. So he quoted a verse, Gadadhar Pandit, from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue kanikara flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers. As he entered the forest of Vrindavan, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints, he filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. So when that was recited, Mahaprabhu and Nitai jumped up, but devotees were so mesmerized they were silent. Can you imagine? This is history. This is real history. Whatever the history of this world is, it's chewing punar charvita charvananam. It's chewing the chewed. It's just the same history over and over and over and over. This is real history. This is real history. So here it is. The devotees are watching. So Lord Chaitanya, he requested Srivas to break the silence by making the deep personality of Lord Nityananda manifest. So Srivas sang a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam describing Krishna coming back from the forest. And as he sang that verse, Nitai fainted. Again, hearing their Vrindavan pastimes. And he was only revived with the mad, loud kirtan of all the devotees chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. How that kirtan revived Mahaprabhu. How that kirtan revived Lord Nityananda. It's so powerful. It must be possible to revive our lost consciousness, our lost Krishna consciousness, if we also chant that mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So seeing this, how Nitai was revived by the kirtan, Mahaprabhu said, I searched the whole world over. He said to Nitai, I searched the whole world over but could not find you. Now I have found the thief who has stolen my heart. Now, Nitai, I'll never let you go. Shri Nityananda Ram ki. And the Sankirtan movement began earnest. The two of them together now, like nitroglycerin. If you know about making bombs, you know, nitrogen and glycerin, they're two, but you put them together, kaboom. So Mahaprabhu, he focused on the elite. Sarvabhauma, Prakashananda, the Brahmanas. But Nitai, because this movement's meant for the whole world, Mahaprabhu sent Nitai out with Haridas Thakur to deliver the most fallen. They would go home to home. At that time in Navadvip, you know, it was just recovering. At one point, you couldn't even hear the name of Krishna in Navadvip. So Advaitacharya, as you know, the other day we observed his appearance day. He called for the Lord to come because Navadvip, although a center of learning, had fallen into disrepair. There was no bhakti there. So when Haridas and Nitai were going door to door, it wasn't easy. They'd knock on the door. And somebody would answer the door, please, it's the Yuga Dharma, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda have appeared, please chant Hare Krishna. No, I'm not going to chant Hare Krishna. No, please, no, I'm not going to chant Hare Krishna. So Lord Nityananda would go inside the house and start rolling around on the ground, doing kirtan, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and breaking all the furniture and the clay pots, and stops, I'll stop when you chant Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And sometimes they would go, and then Nitai he would sometimes switch into the mood of Balaram, and the young girls would come with their father to the door, and he'd see them with gopis and ask them if they could dance with him for a night of Brahma in the forest. And people were like, what? So Haridas Thakur was getting really frustrated, because Nitai was acting like an avaduta. So he went to Lord Chaitanya and he said, Haridas went to Lord Chaitanya, he said, this Nitai is intoxicated with love of God. He jumps in the Ganges and chases crocodiles. He rides a bull and says, I'm Shiva. He plunders the cowsheds of a farmer and eats all their yogurt, embraces young girls and asks them to dance with him for a night of Brahma. I can't do this anymore, Lord Chaitanya. But the work had to be done. Sometimes we don't want to go out on Sankirtan, but we have to go out. And Prabhupada said one time that along with the instruction of the spiritual master comes the ability to fulfill it. And the spiritual master will never give us any instruction that's too difficult to accomplish. So they kept going out. And by the arrangement of the Lord, obviously, they met Jagai and Madhai. And you know that pastime. Jagai and Madhai. And Madhai, actually, he was such a rascal. He broke a pot of Nitai's head. When Haridas Thakur and Nityanand were trying to preach to Jagai and Madhai, Madhai became crazy like a fool, and he broke a pot on the head. The blood would come from Lord Nityananda. And when that Lord Chaitanya came running, but not like he came to the earth as a compassionate avatar. He came like he did in Dwapara Yuga with his suitor son. The only time you'll see Lord Chaitanya with the suitor son chakra is in this particular pastime. Otherwise, his astra, his weapons were the holy name by which he destroyed the demoniac consciousness of people, not their bodies. But when he heard that Nitai had been struck with a pot by Madhai, he came with the suitor son. And Nitai said, no, it's okay. No, they've offended my devotee. So Nitai actually saved them, otherwise Lord Chaitanya would have chopped their heads off with their suitor son. And then actually he delivered him right there on the spot, Lord Chaitanya. They were so fearful and so regretful. We should regret our past sins and commit ourselves to living a pure life from the day of initiation. It's a similar situation. So Mahaprabhu said, they said, please accept us as yours. Like, what? That was a pretty quick change. But the mercy of Gaura-Nitai is unfathomable. We can't really understand. We can experience it a little bit when we go out and preach to the people and see how they change. But it's fathomless. So Mahaprabhu agreed to accept them as his disciples, as his followers, if they would give up sinful activity and constantly chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. And at that ceremony, there was no fire yagya. The congregation came and svaha. Really, initiation is an affair of the heart between guru and disciple. It's something quite deep. But we have all the rituals to impress upon young devotees how significant that moment is that we're taking our vows as Gaudiya Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So after accepting them, as part of the accepting, Lord Chaitanya embraced Madhai, the one who broke the pot on Nitai's head. He embraced Madhai. And you know what happened? Because when you become the guru, you have to, one of your sevas, you could say, is to accept the karma of the disciple. So when he embraced Madhai, Mahaprabhu's golden body turned black. Black as night, because of the sins within the body of Madhai. It turned black. Everyone, no! Gauranga, no! You're Gauranga! You're the golden avatar, now you're black! Like sin, like the night. So Lord Chaitanya said something very amazing. He said, Madhai committed a Vaishnava aparat, but I'm accepting him now as my follower. But anyone who offends a Vaishnava from this day forth, I shall give them these sinful reactions of Madhai. Watch out. He's got all that sin. Of course, he can handle it, and the Guru can also handle it if the Guru has deep faith in the chanting of the holy names. Holy names, fear personifies afraid of the holy names. So the Guru takes the risk, of course, but if he has Shraddha, firm faith in the holy name, by his chanting, those names those sins are burned up as well. There's other answers to that question, but that's one, that the Guru can, if he has faith, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, So later, Jagai and Madhai, they became saintly persons. They became saintly persons. Srila Sanatana Goswami has said, as bell metal can be changed into gold by a mystical process, so a fallen, low-born person can become a Brahmana Vaishnava by initiation, diksha, into the chanting of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Actually, they accepted disciples themselves, Jagai and Madhai. Such is the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki. So later Madhai, sometime later Madhai, before he started taking disciples, he came to Lord Nityananda feeling bad for breaking a pot on his head, and he said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhai, my Lord, when I think that it is you who sustains the universe in the form of Vishnu, it is by your Shakti that Brahma creates and Rudra destroys the universe, and it is you whose body I struck, the fire of penitence penitence means regret. The fire of penitence begins to smolder in my heart, and there is no peace for me. I think you could not have forgiven, I think it's simply, you should perhaps not have forgiven me. Save me, my Lord. And Nitai said, Madhai, you're like my own child, like my son. If the child strikes the father, does the father feel hurt? Just see the compassion of Lord Nityananda. But if you want, he said, make a bathing ghat for all the people who come here to bathe in the Ganges. Chant 200,000 names of Krishna a day and serve those pilgrims' lotus feet. And that's what Madhai did. He went and made a little ghat. People would come to bathe in the ghat. He'd wash their feet first. And the rest of the time, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he would always tell them, please pray for me. Kindly forgive me your offenses I may have committed. Madhai. So there's many pastimes, actually. I'll tell one more pastime. Are you tired? You hungry? Raise your hand if you think I should finish. Everyone close their eyes. We'll have a silent, what do they call that? You know what it is. So should I go on for 10 more minutes? Just show of hands. So after sannyas, after Lord Chaitanya, later he took sannyas. We're speeding up here, but Mahaprabhu took sannyas and he proceeded to Nilachala, to Jagannath Puri, along with Nitai and a few of his close followers. And when they reached Kamalapur, it's on the bank of the Bagai River, just near Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya famously went for darshan of a well-known famous Shiva temple. And when he left, he's very attached to his danda, actually. He gave it to Nitai to hold. Be careful. It's like when I have my paraphernalia. I always give it to my servants because sometimes they're spaced out. And I said, be careful, keep your eye on it, don't lose it. So he gave his danda to Nityananda. So then Mahaprabhu went off to take Shiva, a darshan of Lord Shiva. And Nitai is sitting there with the danda. And he addresses the danda as follows. You danda, you are so bold, you are so arrogant, the one whom we hold dearly in our hearts, Mahaprabhu, you just ride on his shoulder. You just take a break and you ride on his shoulder. Today, you will suffer punishment for this. So Nitai, he broke the danda in 3 places. What was the sin of the danda? You're taking it easy, riding on the shoulder of our Lord. Who do you think you are, danda? He threw it in the river, the Bagai River. And Mahaprabhu returned. He said, where's my danda? So Nitai said, I broke that bamboo pole. So Lord Chaitanya said, Nitai, you have to understand, in the sannyas danda reside all the demigods, and you call the bamboo pole? Actually, my danda, there's the 33 million demigods reside there. That's why we take it, we carry it very carefully. The sannyasi needs all the help he can get. So So Nitai said, I know that all the demigods reside in that danda, but we cannot tolerate you carrying the demigods on your shoulder. They should carry you. So Lord Chaitanya said, that danda, Nitai, that was my only companion after taking sannyas. Now it's gone. I'm going on to Jagannath Puri alone. So Mahaprabhu went, you know the pastime. He entered Puri for the first time alone because the danda had been broken and he was so upset, so everyone had to follow him far behind. But Vaishnava commentators, they say that actually it was the mercy. There's a deeper understanding. Often there's a deeper understanding to Krishna's Leelas. And devotees like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and the original commentator of Bhagavatam, Sridhar Swami, they go deeper to help us understand. But the commentators on this pastime, they say that it was actually the mercy that Nitai broke that danda, because deeper understanding within that danda flowed the prema, liquid, like flow, they say liquid prema, and by breaking it, Nitai distributed that flowing prema to the whole world, and the sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Okay, he broke the danda, but prema was in there because Mahaprabhu came to give prema. Everything about Mahaprabhu was giving prema to the fallen conditioned souls. It was within that danda. And now it flows everywhere. Such a nice transcendental analogy. So after Mahaprabhu came back from South India, he left Puri at one time, went to South India, he asked Lord Nityananda to become a householder. The idea being that most of Lord Chaitanya's associates were actually renunciates at that time. Therefore, one might assume that in order to become Krishna conscious, one has to totally renounce the world, but most people can't do that. So as Mahaprabhu was the crescent jewel for those in the renounced order of life, his other half, Nitai, became the example for householders. And Lord Nityananda was very dear to Lord Chaitanya. It's said that Lord Chaitanya was always present in 4 places. At Mother Sachi's house, in the Kirtan of Srivas Pandit, in the house of Raghava Pandit, and wherever Nitai is dancing. See Nityananda Ram Ki. So we should take every opportunity to ourselves dance in Kirtan. And by dancing in that Kirtan, we'll attract the attention of great devotees. Prabhupada loved it. I remember we were present on a number of occasions where we were having kirtan with Prabhupada, and the whole time Prabhupada was going like this. He's asking us to dance like this. And sometimes he was playing the gong and playing the cards, and he'd smile when he saw the devotees dance. This gives great pleasure. So if we follow in the footsteps, we're meant to follow in the footsteps, follow the leader. And who are the two most glorious leaders in this age of Kali? Gauri Tai. They've come, Krishna and Balaram have come, like the sun and the moon, to give light to the darkness of this horrible Kali Yuga. So we should follow in their footsteps and have ecstatic kirtans wherever we go. Because otherwise, how will the people, the fallen people of Kali Yuga, ever be delivered? So continue your preaching here. I'm very happy to see that the audience has increased. I was here last year. We did a fundraiser. And I see the crowds bigger. Actually, there's people standing outside. So this is an indication you're getting the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Keep doing what you're doing under the authorities. You're working and deliver the people of, this is the eastern part of Bangalore. Deliver them, and Mahaprabhu will give you another service. And we go on life after life, serving these two transcendental brothers. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya Ke. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki. Shri Nityananda Ram Avaduta Ke. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ke. Go Premanande! Thank you very much. I have a present for you. Actually, you're supposed to give presents to the guests. But it's the other way around here. It's always, love is reciprocal. As you know, I came was it last year? Where are my servants? Anyway, last year we came through and we showed you we presented to you books on the science of Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said when his disciples get older, or senior disciples, they should write about Krishna consciousness. But we can only repeat, really, because we don't make anything up new. So when during the COVID, sorry for the bad word, during the time of COVID, I was in Vrindavan. I was obliged to stay in my apartment for 3.5 years. I'd been a traveling sannyasi for 54 years. I tried to follow that rule. You can only stay in one place 3 days. So you can imagine how many beds I slept in 50 years. But here I was, locked down. So I thought, I have to keep preaching. So what I did is I had a big library, so many books, almost all the books published by Manu Swami in our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition. I started reading. I started focusing on Braj. Eke Kunu Nandana, focusing. One-pointed attention, because that's the goal. If there's anything we want at the end of our lives, when we lose everything, it's the prayer that I can go back home, back to Godhead, and be with Radhesham or Krishna Balaram. So I thought to facilitate that meditation by the devotees, I would begin lecturing just on Vrindavan, meaning the abode of Vrindavan, how to enter into Vrindavan, Radha and Krishna, the Astasakis, the Manjaris, the cowherd boys, the cows, the desire trees, the pastimes, Purnamasi, Vrindadevi, Nandagaon, Varshana, anything connected to the mood, what the bees hum, what the birds sing. I wanted to put it all in an audible form, so devotees who are busy, may not have the time to study so deeply, they can hear these glories of Vrindavan when they travel on the way to work, when they come back home, or off time on the weekends, whatever, because Shravanam Kirtanam brings Krishna Smarana. So I began speaking, and to make a long story short, I've given close to 750 lectures just on Vrindavan to this day. And I have a YouTube channel, Indradyumna Swami, Every Friday, a new lecture goes up on my YouTube channel. You can listen. You might want to catch up to the 700 other lectures, but I know many of you are listening to the lectures. This part of that greater body is called Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, and right now we're doing Radharani's Eyes. I just finished a lecture yesterday on Radharani's Eyes. All according to Shastra, all from our books, a verse to back up everything I say, and a lot of guidance from senior godbrothers. But those books were transcribed for easy reading. The first book we came out was all about Govardhan Hill. Hey, Kiridas, Govardhan Lalavan Siwala Ki Jai Ho! Govardhan. Raghunath Das Goswami says, in Vrindavan, he wants to reside at the feet of Govardhan. So we really have to learn everything about Govardhan. I researched weeks. I went out there, went to the exact places, to the temples, the sadhus. I studied the Goswami's books, probably everything I could find about Govardhan. Here it is, and beautiful photos and paintings as well. The perfect Parikrama book. And if you can't go to Govardhan, you can read the most authorized book about Govardhan here in your hand. And we also have it in Hindi. I know that's not the language here, but we have it in Hindi. The next year, my disciples printed The Sacred Forest of Vrindavan on the western bank of the Jamuna. All the pastime places of Radha and Krishna and Balaram on this half of Vrindavan, also with beautiful photographs. So if you take this book with you, you go to Vrindavan, you'll know you're in the right place if you see the pastime corresponds with the photo here. And Vrindavan is very, to go and find these places is not easy. We have maps, everything's there, hundreds of holy places. Next year, I did the eastern bank of the Vrindavan forest. Same principle, Nandagaon and Terkadamba, and there's so many holy places everywhere. And this year we've come with a new one. It's the most popular so far. It's all about Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani Ki. And not only Radharani, but her 8 companions. Radharani has 8 companions. They're called Sakis, Astasakis, Tungavidya, Chitra, Induleka, etc., etc. 8 of them. And as Radharani lives on Varshana, Varshana translates as an abode of bliss. She has her palace on top of Varshana. Her 8 Sakis, the 8 girls, they have their villages around Varshana. 8 villages around where they live. So I went to the villages and I studied all about Tungavidya in one village, Induleka and Chitradevi, everything I could find. I went through all the books because most devotees don't know so much about the Astasakis, but they're so important. Each Astasaki has a group of manjaris. This is what we should be listening to, not the mundane news. So this book is especially beautiful because we have wonderful illustrations you can see. Wonderful illustrations about each of the different confidential associates of, here's Chitradevi. So when you go to Mayapur, you've been to Mayapur, you'll go to Mayapur, you'll see that Radha Madhava and 4 ladies on one side, 4 ladies, those are the Astasakis. We shouldn't just go there and think, those girls look really beautiful. Hey, wait a minute, the beauty is in their loving service to Srimati Radharani. When she gets into man, into anger, they help appease her anger so you can be back with Krishna. How they dress, what's their individual service, which kunjas do they have, what lakes do they have, how do they dress, what's their jewelry. It's all here. Anything you need to know about as much as I could find about the Sakis of Radharani, it's a must-have. I'm not a business owner, I'm not here to sell. I want you to fall in love with Vrindavan. And you do that by hearing about Vrindavan and reading about Vrindavan. So all these books This is pure nectar. And they're very expensive. They're $2,500 each. But we're making it special, 2,500 rupees. And if you take Vrindavan into your heart, you want to be Brajbasis. You want to go to the playground of God, not the kingdom of God. Vaikuntha. If you take one of those books, we give you one of these books free. It's not so significant as the other ones. It's the Adventures of a Traveling Monk. It's my travels around the world for 50 years. It's a really an adventure book. You can just imagine going and preaching Krishna consciousness in China, where they don't believe in a supreme being. They don't believe in God. There's no word for God in the Chinese language. How do you tell people about Krishna? Read the book. Russia. I just came out of prison. I was in Russia. I was in prison recently. They arrested me. What was my crime? Singing God's names on the street. The KGB arrested me, put me in prison. I thought I'd never get out, but Jai Bhagavan or Shringadev. That's it. I was in the Amazon jungle. This is, Prabhupada told me, preach boldly, give me personal instruction. You preach boldly, have faith in the holy names. It all manifested as wonderful stories. It's not about me, really, it's all about Prabhupada's mercy in pushing me forward to those places to give people what he gave to me, and the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityanand. So this is a good, especially for young people, because it shows how adventuresome Krishna consciousness can be. So if you have a teenager and you're a little nervous, this is the book. So I'm going to sit here for, I guess, about an hour, and I have a new pen. It was given to me by a businessman who insulted me. I was sitting next to him on the plane. He said, "What do you smell like?" I said, "Sir, it's sandalwood oil." He was a big meat eater. He was eating a hamburger. He said, "What do you smell like?" He couldn't stand the scent of sandalwood. He said, "What's the dress you're wearing?" I said, "It's a dhoti." He said, "What are you mumbling in that little bag in your hand?" I said, "God's name." He said, "What's the pen?" He said, "I think you're crazy." I said, "Sir, let's talk about who's crazy." Anyway, he was very offensive, but I was flying from London to Delhi. When we landed in Delhi, he was practically on the floor. "Sir, I am so sorry. I spoke to you like that. I didn't know, I didn't understand. I didn't know the culture you were representing. I didn't know your philosophy. I feel so bad. Please excuse me." I said, "Don't worry, I get it all the time. It's all right." He said, "I want to give you something." And he took this out of his shirt. He said, "This pen was given to me by my wife on our 25th wedding anniversary. She's going to kill me, but I'm giving it to you." And I said, "How will I use it?" He said, "Well, you've got a lot of books there. I could see you were signing some books the other day, or at the airport. You can sign it for your books here in India." I said, "Okay, I'll take it." So if you take a book, I'd be very happy to, in my humble way, sign the book here. So thank you. One request, because that sannyasi took little Nitai from Nitai from Hadai Pandit and Padmavati. So I'm going to ask you for something. The ladies are hiding the children. No, it's okay. It's okay. No, you don't have to take out your checkbooks. It's okay. My request is, can I come back next year? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
We have two books, one here on the left side, one at the back. See, there are a lot of devotees here, two books. We request devotees to go to either one.